Hello everybody and welcome back to Disney Elves. Today I am going to be talking about my trip to Walt Disney World. Yes, I have been to Walt Disney World. It was absolutely amazing, but I'm going to talk about everything that people don't really usually talk about, like budget, including exactly how much it cost me, exactly how much I brought home, all of that good stuff, and basically things that I wish I would have known before that people don't really talk about. Let's get into it. I went on this holiday from the 11th of May until the 23rd of May. The reason it's taken me so long to put up this video is because I came home with coronavirus. I didn't get on a plane with it or anything. I think I must have caught it on the plane. There were a lot of ill people around me on the plane home. We'll get to that. I'll do a section on travel and everything as well. But basically the 11th to the 23rd. And in total with everything that cost, split between three, £6,707.47. We stayed at a moderate resort, which was Port Orleans French Quarter. We had a lot of cool add-ons that just came with the package. We had the 14-day ticket, the dining credit, which was $72 per night, but that was for the room, not per person, so we had to split it between three of us. We were given 2 Cirque du Soleil tickets, but because the show wasn't running when we went there, because they give them like regular breaks, we got a gift card instead, which I was happy with, and you could spend that on merch or dining. The memory maker, which is the photo pass. I personally bought a magic band. You can scan it with cast members and they take your photo in really cool places. I'll put a couple of examples here of the photo pass photos. I personally think whether it's included in your deal or not, you should totally get the photo pass. I think it's such a good way of not being on your phone 24/7 when you're in the park, but being able to be like, oh, we can get a picture here, and it's also way easier to get photos that way. I just found it really good. I also highly recommend getting a magic band. I saw one I really wanted in the park on the second day. I'm so happy I got it. I could have my room key on there. It was so easy to just like put my wrist to the door rather than like getting my phone out for the key or getting it out of my purse. For example, I went to a water park one day and I didn't want to bring my phone with me and leave it in a locker, so I left it at the hotel in the safe, and I was able to still get in the park because I had my magic band with me. A magic band is one of the things I would definitely buy when you first arrive at the park. Blue light discount, I'm not sure how long they're running it for, but my sister gets it, so it was able to come off of our whole room total, which was brilliant. It took off £353.03. This also included our flights. Now, we were told over the phone as well that our flight cost was somewhere like £1,500, so that shows you how expensive the flights are compared to the hotel and everything. But overall, I feel like we got an absolutely amazing deal. I'll put all of the breakdown here for you to look at and, you know, pause if you want to read it. Could have really done with someone just telling me exactly how much it costed before we did it. I do think we got a particularly good deal because we booked at a time when not many people were booking. For £150 per person, I think, was the deposit, which isn't that bad at all. When I went, there was no dining plan. On top of what we paid for the holiday, in terms of dining and merchandise, we took £4,000 for me and Nikon, so £2,000 each. Now that is because I love merchandise and I wanted to be able to buy anything I wanted, whenever I wanted. This was a holiday. We were celebrating getting married. We were celebrating, we hadn't been to Walt Disney World since 2003, so 20-year-on family holiday as well. And it was my birthday. We didn't spend the whole £4,000. We came home with £800. If you're trying to work out how much you kind of want to take for dining, if you want more big dining experiences, like sat down with characters and all that, it's a lot of money. Whereas I wanted to just be able to have something from here and something from there, and I wanted to try a Wookiee cookie and like all these specific snacks and things. It depends what kind of holiday you want, but I think you would totally be fine with taking, I don't know, if you want a normal amount of merch and to be able to eat well, £1,500 per person is by far enough, in my opinion. If you want to buy a lot of merch, like I did, then you are definitely safe with £2,000 like per person. You can definitely do it cheaper and you can definitely do it more expensive. I do have a merch haul coming up and you will see just the amount that I bought. It was so much. We actually went there with empty suitcases. It's up to you how much you think, but that gives you at least a ballpark figure. Let's talk about the hotel. So we stayed at a moderate resort. I don't know what they call them, but you can get the kind of cheap budget resort, which is like Pop Century and stuff. Then you get the moderate resort, which is Port Orleans French Quarter style, and then you get the expensive fancy, which is Polynesian and stuff like that. And I can see why people would spend the money on a really good resort, but for the type of holiday we had, the moderate was absolutely perfect. What I loved about Port Orleans French Quarter is it took you out of the crowds. I really felt like it was relaxed, there weren't too many people. I like the fact it wasn't a high-rise building, so they only had 3 floors. We were on the bottom floor and we were in building 4, which was really good because it was close to Sasagula and we had a hotel shop and things like that, so it was really easy and a great location. If you're thinking about staying at Port Orleans French Quarter, I would definitely say do it. The food was excellent in Sasagula. So you have Scat Cat's Jazz Club, which opens at night and they do live music on the weekends. You have a little cafe next to that where, yes, you can get Mickey beignets on tap and they are incredible and definitely worth getting. And then you have Sasagula, which is the sort of big, almost like canteen style place. Now at Sasagula they have a breakfast menu that runs till 11 and it's delicious, and you can get all types of things. You can get like some healthy stuff, you can get some Mickey waffles, you can get, I had something called a loaded tacho bowl, which was like potato barrels, bacon bits, sausage gravy and scrambled egg, and that looked disgusting, but it was absolutely amazing. Then in the evening and lunchtime they did sandwiches, they had some veggie options, jambalaya, gumbo, shrimp and grits, but then they also had classic like chicken strips and chips, and then there was a bit where you could get rainbow carrots and chicken. So like I didn't feel like I was just eating fried food the whole time, is what I'm trying to say. I felt like there was such a great mix at Sasagula, and that's another reason why we didn't do our dining experiences. That is dining. In terms of the parks and what to do and what's top of my yes you must do it list and ranking the parks, let's talk about it. First of all, let's talk about Magic Kingdom. I went to Magic Kingdom on the first day and it is safe to say that I did not understand the crowds and how crazy it would get. I feel like it's really important to share how difficult it is to get to the park, because that was the bit that I was most surprised that people don't really talk about. You hear people talk about the monorail. I had no idea what that really meant. So we personally got a hire car for the whole holiday, just because we wanted to be able to do a couple of other things. We did Universal as well, and we wanted to be able to get around really easily. I think the hire car was 100% worth the money. Got ours at the airport. It did cost obviously a couple of £100 to have for the whole time, but because there were 5 of us, we got to split the money and it wasn't so bad. If you'd like more information about the hire car and things like that, feel free to just leave me a comment of any details I've missed out. Getting to Magic Kingdom, we had to get from the hotel, so we went in a hire car. When you get there, you park. Then you can take a little tram, which is just sort of like an open vehicle, and that will take you to the next bit. You go through security. When you're through security, you then pick between the monorail or the ferry. In general, I found the ferry a lot more pleasant. It does take a little bit longer, I think, than the monorail, but it doesn't feel as cramped because it has open sides and you're obviously on a boat, so it's like really nice on there. Whereas with the monorail, I felt like people just kept getting in. It felt like I was on the London Underground and you kind of like got no air and it just felt a bit more gross. I can't explain it. I know some people love the monorail and I'm sure it's nice if it's not busy. So it took away a bit of the magic for me, I'm not gonna lie. Even when it was a busy ferry, it didn't feel cramped. Mwah, loved it. So I recommend the ferry. You get off the ferry and then you go up to the gate where you have to scan your ticket, and then you're finally in the Magic Kingdom. I don't know, it was more of a mission than I expected. I don't know why people don't talk about it more, but getting to Magic Kingdom, in my opinion, was an absolute nightmare. I did find Magic Kingdom to be the busiest park. Overall, it was just busy everywhere, and I went at a time where they're meant to have low crowds, and it felt busy. But I did find when you did rope drop and you went to like Tomorrowland or something, that was perfect. Don't linger around Main Street too long, because when you get in, it's actually like, we went to Tomorrowland and there was barely anyone in there. So nice. We got straight onto the People Mover. We went straight into Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. That was a perfect start to the day. So I definitely think there are ways to do it, and some of it is just pure luck. I obviously had a great time in Magic Kingdom. Ride wise and experience wise, my kind of must-dos in Magic Kingdom, there are some that you have to do just because of the nostalgia and the fun. So for example, It's a Small World is so long and like cringy, but I love it. I absolutely love it. You have to do It's a Small World. Along with Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan's Flight. I was so impressed with Peter Pan's Flight. Like, I'm not going to give any like spoilers or anything. Yeah, I was impressed with it. I was like, wow, this is really good. I loved doing the People Mover in Tomorrowland. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, I had no idea what to expect. People don't talk about Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. It's so fun. I actually did Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Big Thunder Mountain. But anyone who knows me knows that that is massive. I'm not a ride person at all. The great thing about Disney is on the Walt Disney World app, they actually tell you what to expect. So whether it's like dark or big drops or thrill ride and stuff like that. My sister and Nikon did Space Mountain and they wouldn't do it again. They didn't enjoy it. It was just a lot apparently, and I knew it would be because it's in the dark and all that, and it's just not for me. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Big Thunder Mountain were completely fine for me, someone who does not like rides. The fun outweighs the scared. Little Mermaid was a really good ride as well. There are just so many that I would recommend. I also really enjoyed like Jungle Cruise, Tiki Room. I loved the Tiki Room, in the Tiki Room. With Magic Kingdom, you are safer if you have 2 days minimum in that park, because there is a lot to see there, and a lot of really good shops. Fireworks. I did not realise how much of a mission it would be to try and watch the fireworks. It was really difficult to even get an unobstructed view. There were just a lot of trees in Magic Kingdom and things like that, and like, that's great. I want trees around for shade. People had prepared for ages to get a good spot for the fireworks. I didn't realise you really needed to, so I rocked up thinking I'd be able to see it, and then I couldn't see it. At the end, to get the crowds like away, they opened the like back alley behind Magic Kingdom, and you could just walk, and there were like bins behind the scenes, and I'm like, hold on. I'm pretty sure Walt Disney himself didn't want anyone to see behind the scenes. So I don't know if that happens every night. I assume it does, to just get rid of people quickly. I don't know. With Disney, I feel like they shouldn't have to do that. It felt odd to me. I've never heard anyone else talk about that before. Surely there's a better way of getting everyone out than letting us see the bins. I don't know. So there's that. I didn't end up watching the fireworks show. However, you can watch it all on your Disney Hotel TV, which was amazing. So one night we were just chilling in the hotel, Mickey beignets, and we watched, I think it's called Happily Ever After. We watched it on the telly. That was magical. It was absolutely amazing, and obviously on telly you get a lot better of a view than you do down Main Street with people's heads and children and phones and trees. I actually recommend not doing the fireworks and getting stuck in the crowds and all of that. I actually recommend chilling at your hotel and watching it on the telly. It's just who I am as a person. I'd rather be led in bed with a Mickey beignet watching it on telly. Places to eat in Magic Kingdom. Okay, so we tried Casey's Corner, which loads of food blogs say is amazing. Guys, I did not like it at all, and neither did my family. I've just found it not nice. The hot dogs over there are made out of a different meat than they are here. So I think for starters I was expecting it to taste away, and then it didn't taste anywhere near it. They don't do a lot of like toppings and stuff, and I just found it a bit strange. Like over here when we have like hot dogs, you can just get like onions and like a bit of cheese and bacon or whatever, but they only had like 2 options, and one of them was like chili con carne with like kidney beans, and then the other one was something else which I got, which is this weird green thing, and it just wasn't very nice. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't recommend Casey's Corner. I would recommend, I think you go into Frontierland on a little cart, cheeseburger spring rolls. It sounds really weird and it sounds kind of gross. I promise you, cheeseburger spring rolls are incredible. I love them. I also tried the Mickey pretzel with cheese sauce, and that, my friends, was dry. I would rather have a million cheeseburger spring rolls. Oh, we also tried a Dole Whip. That was really nice, really nice. I had the pineapple swirl. The next day we went to Studios, Hollywood Studios. I absolutely love Hollywood Studios. We had so much to do there. I'm a massive Star Wars fan, which of course helps. Feel like even if I wasn't a huge Star Wars fan, I would just love this park. The vibe of it just really made me feel like I was on holiday. Some sort of like old magic about it, and maybe it's because it's the sort of like old Hollywood vibe, but it was just so fun and I loved everything there. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I'm wearing the ears because I loved this ride so much. I don't really want to tell you much about the rides themselves because I don't want to spoil it. If you've been, you already know. The ride in general was just unexpected. I just didn't expect it to be like that. I don't know what I was expecting. Then we went across to Galaxy's Edge, and Galaxy's Edge is definitely my favourite part of any of the parks. I thought it was absolutely incredible, so immersive. It never felt too crowded. Even I went at a very busy time one of the days and I didn't feel like it was too much at any point. We did a couple of rides there, so I'm laughing because we did Smuggler's Run. If you have motion sickness of any kind, do not do Smuggler's Run. It was bad. Yeah, my whole family felt sick after Smuggler's Run, and they're not even prone to like motion sickness. Like, I'm quite bad with it sometimes. It was a good ride, but it's just not worth feeling that sick. It took me a couple of hours to really feel back to normal. Whether you hate rides, love rides, get scared on rides, etc., Rise of the Resistance is the best ride in all of Disney. I would literally, I'll die on this hill. Like, I genuinely think that ride is so like inventive. It's just so good. But yeah, basically it combines a lot of different things. So it combines like animatronics, screens, actual physical props. Even the like seat you sit in is really like comfortable, and you don't feel like you're on a roller coaster. You feel like you're in an experience. Rise of Resistance is a must do. I know everyone says it, but it genuinely is a must do. Like, above any other ride, do it. My sister did Tower of Terror and she said that was really good. You would not see me on Tower of Terror. We then obviously went to Toy Story Land and we did Slinky Dog Dash. I cannot believe I went on Slinky Dog Dash, but I'm so glad I did. Once again, even if you don't love rides, you can cope on that ride and it's worth it because it's really fun. Just had to change my battery. In terms of other things in Toy Story Land, I didn't do the other rides because they involve a lot of spinning or whatever, and I'm not a spinner. I can't do dark, I can't do spinny, and I can't do motion sickness. Those are the three I'm like, no. In Studios, my big, massive #1 must do of anything, of my whole holiday, but especially in Hollywood Studios, is Fantasmic.
The best cast member ever. Just let us have these seats. Check it out. Right, and look at all the people here at the gap, and we've got these right at the front. Like, I feel like a VIP.
So good.
Nichols wet, head to toe, so can. It was very wet. Oh, look!
We did Fantasmic twice. The first time we sat right at the back and had a view of like everything, and then the second time we managed to get right at the front. If you're close enough, you might get wet. We did the second night. I enjoyed it equally from both positions because it gave me a different perspective on it. So it doesn't matter where you're sat in the sort of arena. They also did really good at making you not feel too crowded, even though when you look around, there are so many people. When they were getting us out as well, I think we did go behind the scenes in studios like we did in Magic Kingdom, but it just didn't feel like we were. It felt really clean and it felt nice, and I didn't feel like I was taken out of the magic. Whereas with Magic Kingdom, I feel like I went from this beautiful kingdom to the bins. But yeah, with studios, I felt like they did really well at getting everyone out really quickly. I love Fantasmic so much that I have watched it on YouTube twice since, but do not watch it on YouTube before you go. That's what I would say. And I say this with every single experience. I love watching them back now that I've experienced them in person, but I'm glad I didn't do it before, because now when I'm watching the video, I have the same magic as when I first watched it in person. Whereas I feel like if I did it before, it would have like just spoiled what was gonna happen. Lady has come to join us, so if you can hear purring, and it's because Lady is around. Here she is. Also in Hollywood Studios, I met Mando, the Mandalorian, and that was really cool. We were just walking in really early in the day, and he was just there. I also built a droid. Now, I would recommend this experience to anyone. I feel like I had a particularly great time because I'd been waiting to do it for ages. I got really amazing cast members. All of them in there were so nice, like above and beyond lovely cast members. You get all your parts of your droid, you take it over and they help you put it all together. And there's also a little like play pad that you can go and test it out on, which I did with a load of other people who just built their droids, and it just felt magical and fun, and I loved every minute of it. I would have built a lightsaber there, but I didn't know how I would get it home. I did see people when we were going home with them, and they were just carrying them separately. So I think you can actually take your lightsaber separately. I just didn't think about it, and I'd spent my money on a droid, and I was so happy with that decision. Somewhere near like $100, but you could have paid like 200 and something and got like a backpack and a personality chip included, but I personally didn't need those things. We also went to Ogre's Cantina, so let's talk about food and drink in studios. I went to Ogre's Cantina. You do have to get a booking for there, you can't just get in. I don't love that you have to book everywhere for Walt Disney World in general. I feel like it does kind of take away the magic a little bit, because you can't just turn up leisurely to places and be like, oh, that looks nice, let's go there. Worth getting a booking for Ogre's Cantina. I was surprised when we walked in because they don't have chairs. There are some like seated booths, but you can be put with total randomers, which I feel like would be weird because it was like a soft seated booth like that. And so like your party might be like there, and then the other people are sort of sharing the same booth. So we did walk to Ogre's Cantina after walking a long time, and we did expect to be sat down, and then we weren't. We were just sort of like stood by a little bar like ledge, and we were sort of put in an alcove as well, away from the main bar, which ended up being a blessing, because obviously if you're at the main bar, you've got loads of people walking by you all the time. Look at the DJ! What have you got there, Nicole?
Cliff Dweller.
Cliff Dweller, what do we think?
Really nice.
Trying the Batu bits, and I've tried it, and I'm not so sure about that.
It's literally a carrot, isn't it?
Dad, thoughts?
That's nice, it's that.
It is nice. The dip's good. Try the dip. It's spicy.
It's spicy. Where is it spicy?
Lime chilli, isn't it?
Ogre's Cantina is not a sit down and chill, it's a stood up drink at the bar. It doesn't matter because it's so worth doing. The drinks were delicious. I tried everyone's drinks and they were all amazing. I had a carbon freeze, and for someone like me who absolutely loves Star Wars, it was so immersive, so amazing, and the staff were great. Robot roasters, Ronto wraps.
Oh, yeah.
What have you got in there?
Cheese, egg, chorizo sausage, basically.
Ooh,
Lush.
nice.
And peppercorn sauce.
Oh. So we also went to Docking Bay 7. I would definitely recommend that. They had really nice burgers and lots of other things. They had BB-8 sippers, the Wookie cookie. I really enjoyed the Wookie cookie. I did not expect it to be as massive as it is. I did not need one of my own. So I approve of the Wookie cookie. That was good. I had a churro. Ooh, there's nothing like a Disney churro, is there? Honestly, incredible. I loved it. I had the chocolate sauce with it. I had a light side churro. Highly recommend. Studios was incredible and it was definitely my favourite. Next up, Animal Kingdom. I was pleasantly surprised by Animal Kingdom. I thought it was so impressive. The safari was so good. I think ended up doing 4 or 5 different safaris at different times of the day. We did one quite early in the morning. That was really good. We saw a lot of good things, but obviously no safari is the same as the next safari. We did one kind of late afternoon and that was another really good one, and we saw different animals. At one point I was so close to a giraffe. It was incredible. The park closes at 7 and I didn't realise this. Animal Kingdom shuts earlier than all the other parks. It shuts at 7 and we got one at 6, I think it was, and by then all of the animals knew it was about to be goodbye time, so they were all sort of waiting by their gates and we basically saw nothing. We watched the Festival of the Lion King. That was a really good show, definitely worth doing, just so much fun. We also saw the Finding Nemo show. The Finding Nemo show is more of a musical that's like on a stage away from you, and that was really good as well. I was pleasantly surprised. I love Finding Nemo though, so I may be a little bit biased on that one.
Emotional. I am.
What I loved about Animal Kingdom is like just as you're like walking around, there are like things going on boats. I got to wave to Timon and Rafiki and Russell and Doug, and there were like guys on drums, and I saw Miko, and it was really amazing from that point of view of like they do a good job at giving you the Disney sparkle, even though it's sort of more of like an animal park. Yeah, I love those spontaneous magical moments, and I feel like they created them really well in Animal Kingdom. We personally didn't eat anything in Animal Kingdom because there was a McDonald's really close, so as we were leaving we decided to try an American McDonald's and it was really good. The chicken nuggets weren't very good, but everything else was delicious. Let's talk about EPCOT. I went straight in at rope drop and went to the aquarium. I met the manatees. Manatees are my absolute favourite animal and I love them, and obviously I've never seen one in real life because we don't really have them here. I genuinely cried. It was the emptiest I've ever seen anything in a Disney park ever. The aquarium was completely empty, the aircon was on, which was lush, and it was just me and my dad and Nick on. The Nemo's Egg music was playing, and yeah, I met the manatees and I literally cried. It was one of those just special moments in life where everything just falls together and it just feels a little bit like too picture perfect. Like, I listen to that Nemo's Egg song every night. You can kind of rush on a Disney holiday in general, but actually taking the time to just like zen and appreciate was, yeah, really, really good, and just such a special memory to meet the manatees basically. And I got a really cool photo. Put the photo here. Lou was his name. We also did the Finding Nemo ride while we were there. It was a really bad ride, I can't lie. It wasn't good. A lot of it was a screen, which I felt was really disappointing. We did Turtle Talks with Crush as well. That was super fun. My sister went on Guardians of the Galaxy and she said that was her favourite ride. For me personally, and the type of kind of person I am and what I wanted to do, there was less for me to see in EPCOT, so I could do it in a day, which we did. We also did the Figment ride, and do you know what? I was actually scared. There's just a couple of bits where like it goes dark or something and I was like, what's going on? But that's just me. It's not a scary ride at all. And that was like the most crazy ride. Like, it was just so weird. I enjoyed it though. Like, I was smiling the whole way through. We came out of there and we saw Vanellope and Joy and we got to meet them. And the queue was so short. I feel like in EPCOT there's a lot of places where you can meet characters and stuff that people don't realise, because even like I got home and I realised you can actually meet Mickeys in one of the places in EPCOT. I didn't realise. They had a lot of construction going on because they're about to open the Moana thing and stuff. So they had a lot of the like work boards up, you know, they're kind of like fence things, and they didn't really do anything to make them special. It was just like blue boards. It was EPCOT Flower and Garden Festival. They could have at least like painted a load of flowers on them, or had sort of fake shrubs instead, maybe. Because yeah, the majority of sort of like walking around Epcot for me was the work fences. So I was a bit like, oh. So yeah, Epcot was really good. I just feel like I wish I did more research on Epcot and like what to do, because yeah, I saw that you can meet Mickey and stuff and I didn't realise. So in terms of ranking the parks, for me personally, the order I would choose would be Studios. Hollywood Studios is my absolute favourite park. I just think everything about it was so good, not crowded, and you can just park outside and walk straight in. None of this, you know, getting a ferry and all of that like Magic Kingdom. Next up, I would say Animal Kingdom. I had so much fun at Animal Kingdom. I didn't realise how good that park is. I feel like people don't hype it up enough. It was so good. Next up, I would say Magic Kingdom. So much to do there, like so many things that you can do in Magic Kingdom. I can see why people would just, you know, if you lived close, you'd go there for the day. And then the last one is Epcot. They're all a great experience, but I just feel like Epcot is the one. There was a lot of work going on at the time I was there, and there's less for me personally in that park. However, it does have one of my favourite trip experiences, meeting the manatees. So still amazing. We also went to Typhoon Lagoon, the water park. I highly recommend putting in a day to just go to the water park. It doesn't even have to be a day, it's just a morning. So we went at like rope drop, so it opens at 10. We made sure we were there by 9:30 just so that we got a nice place with a bit of shade and an umbrella. The rides were good. Didn't start getting busy until about like 1 p.m. so we had like a good few hours in the morning where we could just go on the rides like one after the other with like barely any wait time at all. What I would say is the wave machine is absolutely crazy. Be careful on the wave machine, especially if you have kids. Don't take them on the wave machine until you've seen it a couple of times. Start far back and really feel how forceful that wave is, because it can be scary. In terms of Disney Springs, it's basically a place with so many shops, but there are also loads of places you can eat, and there's live music, and there's a lot more to do at Disney Springs than I expected. It did get very crowded on a couple of the evenings because obviously you don't need to be at a park to go there, like anyone can go there. In terms of other things that we did on the holiday, we went to Universal. The reason why we went to Universal was for Harry Potter, and we got our tickets from Undercover Tourist. It is the cheapest that we found at the time for a one-day ticket of when we wanted to go. So to go to Universal, the adult one-day ticket, which was a park-to-park ticket, because there are two parks and they're very cheeky, and they put half of Harry Potter in one park and the other half of Harry Potter in another park, per adult was $210.42, and that was so much money for what it was. Weird to be out of the Disney bubble. I personally just didn't enjoy it as much as being in a Disney park. The food really wasn't very good. We bought a refillable cup because we thought it would work out cheaper to buy a refillable cup. In all of the Harry Potter bits, there was no station to refill the cup. So the main place where we were for the whole day, you couldn't refill the cup. Overall as well, the Harry Potter things were great. They were magical. I felt like a lot of people who are going to Universal at the moment just want to see the Harry Potter stuff. All of the water rides, there were 3 water rides that we really wanted to do. All of them were down, so we couldn't go on any of those. I feel like our Universal day was very unlucky. The one thing we did get really lucky with was we saw the Blues Brothers show. Now, we saw this show 20 years ago, and it was so weird to be back, and it was incredible. Like, me and my sister were like dancing. Blues Brothers got down off the stage and like took us around, and we were like dancing with them around the like street, around their car, and yeah, it was just really great. So I do think basically there's a lot more to Universal than just Harry Potter. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we did it and experienced it, but I personally don't think I would add that much cost to the next holiday if I was going to do it again. So now let's talk about travel. So we flew from Gatwick and we went to Orlando International. We stayed at the Hilton Hotel, and you can actually walk under the Hilton and through a tunnel all the way into Gatwick. I feel like the flight there was really, really smooth. There wasn't much turbulence. It was a day flight, which was really, really nice because it was all lit up nicely. I met a really nice cabin crew girl called Holly Wilson. She does like TikTok and stuff as well, and that was just really nice. It was a pleasant experience. The plane food was okay. I didn't eat a lot of it because I was very, very nervous. And I do feel like I need to say as well, I was so nervous for this flight. I haven't been on a plane in years and I was next level freaking out, guys. There's no other way to put it. I wish it wasn't like it and I wish I could chill out, but I just can't get over the fact that you're flying in the sky. But the flight there, I feel like I could cope and it was good. The way back, however, was a bit of a nightmare. We get to security and one of the things that I bought on holiday was a Babu Freak. He's this little like alien dude and looks a little bit kind of like a monkey, I suppose. And I had him in my hand luggage and he came up on the scanner and they were like, what on earth have you got in your case? And I was like, a Babu Freak, of course. So yeah, I had to open my case, which as you can imagine was full. I then had to watch as they unboxed my Babu Freak and they used a knife and everything, and I was like, oh my. I had to swab him. And like, I'm stood there in my little bucket hat. It's in a little Toy Story suitcase. And I'm like, really? No, I respect it. I respect that they're being thorough and I respect the security. So I honestly didn't mind at all. If you need to swab me Babu Freak, go ahead. We were waiting and there was thunder and lightning. So it was delayed, taking off by an hour. You have no space on a plane. I'm just putting this out there now. You have no space. So I couldn't put my arm at like full extension in front of me. On the plane there, I didn't have anyone behind me, and like, for example, my dad had a seat clear next to him, so it felt a little bit more spacious and a little bit less claustrophobic. Going home felt like really claustrophobic. There was quite a bit of turbulence, so I felt a bit sicky. It was a night flight, so all of the lights were down. I don't talk about it much on here, but I get like migraines and I'm sensitive to light and stuff like that, so having the dark all around with the light screens everywhere was not very good for me. And obviously you can see like everyone's screens are like watching different things and stuff, so there's all these different light patterns around the plane. The person in front of me fully reclined their chair. So my screen was like really close to my face. I didn't want to do the same to the person behind me because I just think that's really selfish. So I basically couldn't watch my screen. Luckily, I paid for the in-flight Wi-Fi, so I was on my phone and I could have my Spotify and stuff, and it was like helping me get through. The people behind me and in front of me were ill. Coughing, sneezing, blowing their noses. I 100% got COVID on that plane. Yeah, it was just awful. The person behind me, was like a young kid, so they were kicking my chair basically the whole time. So it was basically the flight from hell. And if it couldn't get worse, people, it couldn't get worse, could it? Yes, it could. Just as I was like going into a zen mode trying to sleep, because I found it really hard to sleep, someone comes running up the middle aisle of the plane. Then all of the air hostesses and the crew and all that are like running back, and they're not telling us what's going on. And then they put all the lights on the plane and we're still not being told what's going on. They're going past us, like this is the cabin crew, and they're going, oh my god, oh my god. And so my mum's like, what's going on? And she was ignored, because obviously I'm then freaking out. Like, no one wants that to happen on a plane, especially when I'm a nervous flyer. They didn't tell anyone what was going on particularly, but it turns out later on that a guy had fainted at the back of the plane. I feel like the cabin crew could have handled that a bit better, because like a lot of the kids around me and stuff were freaking out as well. I was trying to hide my scaredness to not scare anyone else. Good luck getting me on a plane ever again. But yeah, I just wanted to be honest about my experience. I think it was just a bad experience, because like I said, the flight there was great. So I think that's everything that I can think of about my holiday from my perspective, but let me know if you do want any of my opinions or help with anything. We booked direct through Disney Holidays and they were amazing all the way through, and if we had questions we could ring or we could ask on the app, and it was really, really easy. In terms of what I bought, The haul is coming. The haul is massive, and I will try my best to include as much pricing and stuff as well. Here's the first thing I bought, obviously. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon, and goodbye.